All right. I know you guys are expecting it. I hope it lives up to your expectations. I haven't drank my chamomile tea this morning, so it might not be all that great. But let's see. It's a Larson won the championship video! Oh my god. The thing that should have happened actually happened, and the most deserving driver statistically throughout the season won the NASCAR championship. It's a Christmas miracle. And if you think you're having a bad day today, just imagine what Tony Stewart, who tried to sign Kyle Larson first, is thinking right now. Because Rick Hendrick just allowed Kyle Larson to have one of the greatest NASCAR seasons of all time, and it was capped by this win at Phoenix and the championship. Now, I've got to say it because I hate this format. This format is a disaster. It's terrible. I hate it, especially for the Cup Series. I know everyone's going to say, oh, Game 7 moment. Oh, wasn't it cool that Daniel Hemrick won the Xfinity Championship yesterday? And I'm going to go, but Kyle Larson, let's get some stats out here. He won 5 out of the 10 playoff races. 4 of those 5 were in the last 5 races. That's the most. No one's done that since Jimmy Johnson in 2007. He had 10 wins the entire season. No one's done that since Jimmy Johnson. And it's probably one of the greatest seasons in NASCAR history since Jeff Gordon's legendary 1998 season. To cap it off, Steve Phelps, when handing Kyle Larson the championship trophy, proclaimed that Kyle Larson had led in this season the most laps of any driver in a single season in history. In history, in NASCAR history. That includes those Richard Petty races or seasons where he won like 30 races. Kyle Larson topped that. And yet, we almost had a situation in which Martin Truex Jr., and credit to him, he's a NASCAR champion. He won it with Furniture Row Racing, which that's one of the great performances as well. I don't want to discredit Martin Truex Jr., but he was not a champion this year. He was not a champion driver. The only person who was even close is Denny Hamlin this year, and I think most people who have a logical part of their brain still functioning would understand that. So, you know, it's never going to change, and I'm just happy that one of the greatest seasons ever will not become the excuse online that this format is good because my 2007 Patriots. Whew. But not only that, Kyle Larson, and this is the thing that people didn't seem to understand, and I think it's just the people who only watch NASCAR. They don't understand why this is so important from a racing standpoint, Kyle Larson winning this race. Because, again, you know, if you're only a NASCAR fan who has watched since the 2008 and the COT, you probably don't have a very good grasp on racing history. I'm just going to say that. And that's nothing personal against you, but you probably don't understand what was so great about A.J. Foyt or Dan Gurney or Mario Andretti. These drivers who could cross over and win in literally any race car they stepped in. Kyle Larson is the spiritual successor and in a lot of ways one of the very, very few drivers who is capable of jumping in an open-wheel 900 horsepower sprint car and winning, then going on and racing a midget and winning, and then going on and racing a NASCAR Cup Series car on a road course and competing for wins. I mean, this is Kyle Larson, and I do agree with Jeff Burton on NBC, by the way, when he said this. Kyle Larson is, bar none, one of the greatest race car drivers in the world right now. And, you know, drivers recently, like Kevin Harvick, have won 9 races in the season. Credit to Kevin Harvick. He's one of the greatest stock car drivers of all time, but he's not one of the greatest race car drivers of all time. Okay? Kyle Larson is in a different conversation. And when a driver like this is in a position like this and can lead your sport, that is exactly what you need. Martin Truex Jr., or really, the other two did have some storyline things, but, anybody else but Kyle Larson winning this championship would have been a complete discredit for NASCAR. And it's very lucky for NASCAR that this result happened. That being said, I do want to address, for what a lot of people is an elephant in the room, which is, and you've probably seen the thumbnail of this video, which says Zero to Hero. A year and a half ago, Kyle Larson was suspended for saying the N-word in an iRace. And, if you've only paid attention to the story from that point to this point, it doesn't look great. I will say that. If you haven't paid attention and you say, well, how did he fail upwards and how did he go from getting fired for saying the N-word to NASCAR champion? Well, those of you who have watched my channel have followed this story pretty much since the beginning. You have seen Kyle Larson hit the bottom and gradually work his way up. And quite honestly, a lot of the work that he has done, I mean, it's hard for me as a white guy to judge oh yeah, he's done enough charitable work or outreach work or how many times does he have to apologize to be good? Can you ever apologize enough for it? I mean, that was something I remember talking about a year and a half ago. I can't answer that question. All I can see is the work that Kyle Larson put in. It's well documented on this channel to get back to the point that he is currently at. Are sponsors flocking to him? No, they're not, but they are there. And HendrickCars.com, while yes, it's owned by Rick Hendrick, seems to be a somewhat autonomous element of that business, and they chose to sponsor him. I think it's for the next 3 to 5 years, something like that. So while and you look at Valvoline, while they are a Hendrick sponsor, they stepped up in a big way throughout this year, and we didn't necessarily expect them to do that. So companies are backing him now. The drivers, obviously, throughout NASCAR. I mean, have you heard anybody credible? And I'm not talking Twitter credible. I'm talking credible in the sport. Say that Kyle Larson shouldn't be in the position that he's in, or really just anywhere outside of a person with 30 followers on Twitter. Have you seen that anywhere? I think normal, rational people see the effort that he has put in on and off the racetrack to be in this position. So, to me, this is a great thing for NASCAR. Again, it's something that almost got screwed up, and again for NASCAR, thankfully it didn't. I think so I bought this diecast. In fact, I bought both of these diecast at Daytona when I went with all the YouTubers, and they thought I was crazy for paying $100 for this bad boy. I believe at least before today, I think it may go up in value after today. This thing was going for $300 on eBay. Kyle Larson is recognized not just by the paddock, but by the fans as the greatest driver in NASCAR right now. And you see it. The merchandise sales are off the charts. There's a demand for Kyle Larson. He's a star you can build around. And I think, again, one of the things that I think a lot of people who just sit on the internet all day and never go outside never see is the fact that Kyle Larson runs all these other races and may well. I mean, again, I haven't even talked. Again, I'm the big IndyCar guy, right? I haven't even talked about the fact that he could be running the Indy 500 next year for Roger Penske. So that outreach, the fact that he's willing, as now he's the NASCAR champion, he's going to be going and running the Chili Bowl, and he won the Knoxville Nationals this year. The amount of respect for the general race fan that the general race fan has for Kyle Larson is enormous. And NASCAR has to, in my opinion, because I am a racing fan first. I'm not a NASCAR fan first. I'm a racing fan first. NASCAR has done a terrible job of outreach to actual racing fans. They've driven them away. But racing fans have a person in Kyle Larson that they can watch and go, that guy is a true racer. That guy gets it. And that guy, is, the representative for grassroots racing, pure racing. So from that perspective, I think, again, this is a slam dunk for NASCAR. It is, kind of the end of an era too, and we're gonna have to see. Next year is going to be so different. In fact, I wrote a list. These are the things that this was the last race for, and I'm probably missing things here. This is the last race for the Gen 6 car. We know that. But that also involves, this is the last race that there will be 5 lug nuts removed and reapplied, hopefully, on a pit stop. This is the last race for 4-speed transmissions. That also means that the H-pattern gearbox will be gone next year, replaced by a sequential shifter. The teams building their own cars, which has been a staple of NASCAR since the moonshining days, that's gone next year. They're down to a standard chassis. The Gen 6 car is not totally spec, but mostly spec. And of course, the number placement, which is so controversial, not in the center of the door anymore. It's going to be way up near the front wheel. Brad Keselowski will no longer be at Penske, we know that. But again, for especially younger fans, this is going to feel like, just completely different seeing him go to Roush next year. Ryan Newman likely ran his last NASCAR Cup Series race today. I would expect, I haven't heard anything, but I feel like he's the perfect driver to go to SRX. So I think we'll see him there at least next year. And of course, we have to pour one out for Starcom Racing. What a shame. But yeah, no, it's, again, I think there's going to be the people on the internet who aren't happy about this because there, for every NASCAR champion, there isn't. But I think Kyle Larson put in the work, again, on and off the track to be in this position. And I think, going forward, he's going to be a great representative for the sport. I hope he does the Indy 500 next year. If that's the case, that's going to be one of the biggest stories. I mean, that's going to be the NASCAR champion, the Knoxville Nationals champion, Chili Bowl champion, BC 39. What else has he won? He's won everything. 4 Crown Nash. He won everything this year. So from that perspective, that could be one of the biggest freaking stories into 2022, and I hope it happens. God, please, Roger Penske, please make it happen. Rick Hendrick, Kyle Larson, everybody, let's make that happen. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you guys, for the entire year, although I'll be at Petit Le Mans next weekend, and of course there's all this off-season stuff as well to talk about. Hopefully, I'll be in Daytona, not only for the Rolex, but also for the Daytona 500 in February. So if you're new here, subscribe. If you made it this far, especially subscribe. And we will see you in the next video.